You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole, and we'll go fishing in the crawdad hole, honey, baby mine. Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. Today's project is actually going to be two different reels. We're going to do them both together so that when this is done, everything will be into one video and all done. And what I've got here is I've got two Penn 910 reels, and this particular one here I got off of eBay with a group of broken reels, and it had a defective bail when I got it, and I have repaired the bail and it's working again. But if you look at it, somebody has painted it with a paintbrush, and it looks pretty sad. This other one, this one here, this one I got from my dad, and this one is in excellent condition, except for the fact that it's missing probably 40% of the paint off of it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to choose one of these for the actual video itself. You'll get to see them both at the end done. But what we're going to do is we're going to dismantle both of these, get them all taken apart, strip them down, and we're going to repaint them and service them and get them up and going again. This one I plan to keep since it came from my dad. This other one here, I plan to move it along. It'll be going out for sale on eBay. If you look, I've still got to do some straightening on the bail right there. The bail should be more shaped like that. See how nice and straight that is coming out? And if you look at this one, it's kind of been abused there. So I've got a little bit of work to do there. Got to be careful when you're straightening things that are bent that sharply, because they can just snap off. And it's not a cheap thing to do to replace that bail. So we'll see what I can do about that. All right, so in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing apart, and we're going to service it and get it ready to go, get its paint job and get it ready to go out again. So we're going to start off by removing the drag knob. And originally, I was getting these 910s. I actually have 4 of them. 2 of them are still on the way here in the mail. But after actually using the 712 on my boat this week, I decided that was as big a reel as I ever wanted to use on my boat. So these 710s, they're not going to be used on the boat, and I'm going to be moving them on, finding them a new home. Okay? So yeah, missing a lot of paint inside. This has been rubbing inside here. See there? Can you see that? Let's see if you can see how the paint is missing inside there. That's from it rubbing, and you can see right here where it's been rubbing on the spool. So let's see if that is still happening, and it doesn't appear to be. It looks as though somebody has corrected that. Want to see if it had a bent spool, not bent spool, but bent axle shaft, and it does not seem to be the case. Maybe it did once and it's been repaired. But yeah, that's going to get repainted so it doesn't look like but yeah, that's going to get repainted so it doesn't look like that. All right, got that off. Let's go ahead and remove the handle. There we go. And now we're going to remove this screw from the side over here. And I've got a screwdriver that's built just for doing that kind of thing. There we go. Got that out. There's the screw for that piece. And as you can see, I have already taken this apart and serviced it. That's why it's working so well. And we're going to take this apart. We're going to start off on this end over here. And remove this screw. Okay, with that off, I should be able to remove the axle. I might need to help a little bit over here and give it a little turn. There we go. There's the axle out. And now we should be able to take the main gear out, which I did. Okay, now we're going to come back up here and we're going to remove the nut off of the rotor. Okay, so that tells me it's a 1/2 inch. And I got a 1/2 inch. There we go. Okay. Let's remove that. Put those together over there. And we have 3 screws here that we can remove. And there's the axle shaft out. Okay. And this is a part that I normally would recommend you not take apart, but since I'm going to do a repaint on this, we're going to take it apart. So we're going to start off by removing the screw out of this cam lever right here. See if I'm trying to get this where you can see it. There's the screw out. And let's turn it this way where you can see. And we're gonna, let's get that screw out first. Okay, now we're going to remove the anti-reverse lever. And there is the spring for it. It goes like that. Okay, that's what's gonna hold that in place. Okay, so I'll set that down. And now we want to remove the eccentric for the anti-reverse override. So we're going to remove this screw, take out the lever, and then, since my fingers are too big to get down in there, I'm going to reach down in here, pull out the eccentric. There it is. See how the spring goes on it? And we'll flip that back over. Put the lever assembly back on to the eccentric, like so. And then that little screw goes with those parts over there. And there it is, dismantled and ready to go. Okay, now what I'm going to do when I repaint this, I'm planning to put a piece of tape over this hole to keep paint from going down inside the bushing here. And I'll do the same thing on this side because I don't want any of the epoxy paint going down inside that bushing. Aside from that, this guy is ready to be stripped off and ready to be repainted. Now, we're going to come over here and let's see about taking this rotor apart. And what I plan to do is I don't want to mess up the decal portion of this. It's a metal plate actually, it's aluminum. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it real well and I'm going to tape over that and I'll strip all this off and leave all of that just like it was originally. And that'll be it. Let's start off though by taking off the nut for the bell wire. And I was looking to see if there's a washer on this side. There's not. I might check the schematics on that and see if there is supposed to be one. Okay, nothing on the inside there. Good. All right, we're going to come over to this side and I'm going to take that off. And that should be about, that's a 10 millimeter, but that's not what size that really is. That is very tight, as though it might be cross-threaded. There we go. Okay, now I should be able to lift that out. And there is our bell wire. Set it over to the side. And we're back over to this side now. We're going to take this one out. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. There we go. And we're going to take this screw out. Okay, that's got the screw out. There's the spring for it. And this, okay. Yep, there's the, okay, this one doesn't have a hole. It has a slot for that spring to go in, so we can remember that. But yeah, that spring definitely is a little corroded looking, so we'll have to clean that up. And now we're down to this. And normally I'm going to tell you, do not remove this assembly because that's going to be a nightmare to put back in. Okay, that's a really, really tough spring in there. I can feel it. And that's going to take some effort to take that out and put it back. So, but since this is going to get a repaint, I really need that to be out of there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take that piece out. Wow, the screw was not tight to begin with. Okay. There goes the screw and the spring. The spring shot off. And now this guy goes in here. We'll pick that up. Keep those two together. And now this should just lift right out here. Nope, it's going to have to go out this way. There we go. Give me a little bit of a fight coming out. Oh, let's try seeing if it will come out this way with that slot over there. Okay, that's going to come over and go past there. No, it doesn't want to do that. I don't want to bend it. It was just about that same amount each time and it stops. I'm going to look at it. It does not appear to be bent or damaged. So yep, there it goes. Now let me make sure I can put it back in that way. Yeah, it just needs some wiggling. Okay, probably just old dirt. Yeah, now it comes right out. Probably just old dirt was keeping it from coming out. Okay, this piece goes with this spring and this screw. Okay, so that's clean or stripped, and it's in need of a good paint job. I'm not going to bother taking the ballast weight out of it. It'll get a more professional job if it is out. Let's see if that will come out. Oh yeah, it needed to come out anyway due to sand and old corrosion. That needed to come out. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, normally I don't do this. I normally just kind of rely on my brains to remember how everything goes. But I'm going to break things down and put them into their component levels. This guy here goes with this spring. Where'd that spring go? Oh, these two go together along with this. All right, those go together. These three go together. These go together. These two go together. These three go together. And I'm going to put these onto here. Okay. These two go together. And I'm going to put this screw. Now, rather than put it there, instead I will put it in here. And that kind of groups things together as they will. And what I'm going to do, I've got a bunch of little Ziploc bags. I'm going to put these little components into their own respective bags so that they're together. And I'm thinking I better go ahead and take this apart now, since last time on that 713, when I took it apart, this was all corroded and nasty inside. I better go ahead and take this apart now and find out if I've got an issue or not early. There we go. Okay, this looks good too. So I'm gonna wipe all these off, throw those in a Ziploc bag as well. And when we come back, everything should be repainted and ready to start starting the assembly. Now, just in case somebody missed something on taking this other one apart, I'm going to take this 710 apart also, and we'll have the tear down for both of them. I can mix and match to give you the best shots of everything. Okay, this is the one that somebody painted with a paintbrush, and it is not very attractive. Okay. All right, as I showed you before, this bale has got a really peculiar bend in it right here at the point. And I'm afraid what's going to happen if I try to straighten this, it's going to snap right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the vise and I'm going to heat it up and see if I can straighten it up with some heat. So I don't want to snap it off. So here we go. You know what? I don't want to melt the insert on this nut. So I'll take that off. Take the roller off. Okay. And I think that this is serving to act as a heat sink because I've got it too far down in the vise. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit like that so that a little more of the wire is up, and maybe I can make this work. All right. So that got it straightened out. I don't know if you were able to see that, but I believe you could. That straightened that part of it out anyway. And let's come on down. And yeah, see, we've got another bend down here that we need to try to deal with now. And that one, I believe that we could probably do without heat. And I'm looking at this, trying to decide if there's any bend left in it. Coming out of the point. I'm not sure that there is. So let's take it out and take a look. No, it's still got some bend left in it. See there? I made a lot of progress on it, but it's still got a bend. And I hate to do it, but we're going to have to go some more. That's going to have to be good enough there. And then I can manually work on the rest of this, trying to straighten it out. And it won't be perfect, but it'll be a whole lot better than it is. All right. Now I got to try to buff this out with my Dremel tool and see if we can. First off, I got to cool it down. There we have it. And now I'm going to try to buff it out with my Dremel tool and see if we can eliminate this discoloration that we have. So. All right, there we have it. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than it was. Okay, let's put the roller back on and the nut back on before I drop something and lose it and have to end up ordering parts. There we go. Okay, now all I'll have to do is adjust this in and out as necessary to get it to line up properly. But this big bend that we had over here is mostly gone. I performed a repaint on these two reels, and this one I felt came out pretty nice. It looks good, but this one did not, so I have stripped it all the way back down, and I'm going to repaint it again and see if I can't make it look a little more like this one and a lot less like what it did. I didn't strip it all the way down the first time. I only cleaned up all the spots that I thought looked bad on it, and it came out looking very, very blotchy. This is the one that somebody had repainted with a paintbrush, and all the paintbrush strokes were still visible. So I stripped it all back down, and we're going to start over. I'm going to shoot it again, and we'll proceed on with getting this one built. Okay, we're ready to start assembling this, and the first thing that's going to go in is going to be this eccentric. And remember that it comes in from the inside, goes to the out, and then we're going to have to put this lever back on. Okay, here we go. We're going to install this eccentric now. And what we're going to do, we're going to set it this way. We're going to take this spring, see the little tag in on the spring? Well, that has to come in from the bottom side right here like that. Okay, with that done, I'm going to go ahead and grab hold of that spring. Oops, sorry, I put it the wrong way. There we go. Like that. Okay, and now I have hold of the spring, and we're going to take this and set it down inside here. And hopefully you'll be able to see as I do this. This goes in. We're going to bring it around a little bit because that corner has got to go. That spring has got to go up in that corner. Okay, once it's like that, we can kind of push it down a little bit. All right, and I'm going to hold that in place. And if you look, in order for this to turn into the spring, it's got to go it's got to go clockwise. Okay, it will have to rotate that direction. Okay, so what we're going to find the medium point. Like that. Okay, and now we'll flip this over, get that to fit, put the screw in, get it started. There. Now it fits properly. Now when we flip it over, you'll see that the spring is mounted where it belongs. And okay, let's put a drop of oil in that eccentric. And now we're ready to install the anti-reverse lever. Okay, I believe it's been a few days since I took this off, so let me set it back into place and see if I remember correctly. This should go like this, there, and when that, activates, it pulls it over. Okay, so now we have to install it so this spring is actually doing what it's supposed to do. So we're going to put the spring on this side right here, like this. This little tag end wrapped around this edge right here. Can you see that okay? Right there. See that tag goes right there. And now we need to get this post right here to come up through both the spring and the arm at the same time. Like that. Okay. And if we've got it in there correctly, we should be able to take the screw, and I'm going to put a dab of grease on the end of the screwdriver to hold that screw in place. Okay, there's our spring, there's our anti-reverse claw, and here's our anti-reverse override. With that flipped over, that arm can't get onto the gear. There we go. We got that part done. We're going to set that over to the side. We're going to come back over here, and we're going to see about assembling this rotor. Okay. First thing we're going to want to put back in is going to be this balance weight. And its purpose is to compensate for these parts over here being on this side of the rotor. Okay, so I'll set this back into place over here and see if we can get that screw to start. There we go. The next part we're going to want to put together is going to be the trip lever. Remember, I had a little trouble getting this guy to come out. Well, first off, I think I was putting it upside down. Yeah, I was. Okay, so let's try it again. Okay, that one drops right in. Let's go back and try the other one the correct way. All right, let's try this. Nope. This way. Like so. Okay. There we go. That dropped in okay. Now comes the hard part, getting it installed with the spring. Okay, this isn't going to be as hard as I thought. It goes in with the spring on top, which means we can bring the screw, put it in right now. There we go. Okay. And we don't want to wear through the paint that we just put on there. All right, we got interrupted by a phone call. It shut the camera off. So let's try this again. Okay, we got that in. We've got our triple lever installed. And the next thing that we're going to install is going to be the spring and the bail spring and bail wire arm. Okay. Okay, now we're going to start this off with just putting in the spring. Now the spring has got two tag ends. One goes off to the side like that. The other one shoots off the top like that. Okay, we're going to take the one that goes off the side and we're going to slide it into this slot right here like that. Okay. With that in place, we're going to take this piece and we got to make sure we put it on the right way. And it's actually fairly easy to do. If it's in, let's take this off for a second. If it's in the wrong way, okay, it won't line up. Okay, see that lines up right there. Now, if you flip it over the other way and try to line that up, see how the hole won't line up? So that's the easy way to find out if you're going the right way, okay? So, like this, the hole lines up with the screw hole lined up. So, let's set that down. Let's put the spring back in. And let's set this on over here. Get that hole lined up. Now that spring went into that hole right there, okay? And now, we're gonna leave it just like that. We're going to put this screw in. And we'll start putting this in, get it most of the way, and then what we're going to do, we're going to put tension on this. We're going to bring it around, We're going to get this arm over out of the way and then let it come back. And now, there we go. And if we've got it right, there you go. And now, there you go. We're going to put a drop of oil here under the head. We're going to put a drop of oil here. And then we're going to go over here in that slot where the screw is, or where the spring is, and put a drop there. Now, we need to put the bail wire on. Now, this bail wire, if you remember yesterday, well, earlier in this video, you saw me straighten this bail wire. Well, I took that ugly bend out of it, but that doesn't mean it's going to line up properly. So what we got to do is we're going to start off by screwing this one side in to the rotor, because we don't know what that other side's going to do just yet. So we've got to get this side aligned and screwed in. And I said earlier that I thought this was a 3/8. Okay. Yes, it is a 3/8. Okay, we've got that tightened down on there. Now, when we bring this over, is it going to align? That's the question. And no, it is not. Okay, so we're going to have to bring this over until it does align properly. We're going to get the nut out of the way. Okay, and see how we got tension here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this in a little bit. So that, yeah, now it aligns and comes in okay. Perfect. Okay, let's put a drop of oil on here. Let's put the rotor, or the roller on. And now we should be able to slide that on. Tighten down the nut. And we do not have a good alignment. See that? Okay. And what happened is I went to tighten it up. If I loosen it just like a quarter turn, you will find that suddenly it works. Okay. What's happening is there's a slight alignment issue right here. And what I've got to do is get this so that it goes in properly. So I've got a little bit of bending and tweaking left to do on this. I don't know how well you can see it. Okay, but there's just, if you watch when I tighten this down, let's see if it shows up here. Okay. Yeah, see, that tightened it up. It put tension all the way around. Okay, and I got to figure out where it is, if it's coming from here. What part of it is not properly aligned? And it appears okay, if you look very carefully, can you see that it's sticking up higher on this side than it is on this side? That's because the wire is coming in at a slight angle. So what's going to have to happen is it's going to have to come this way just a little bit in order to take this. And what that's going to mean is it has to bend here and here, both at the same time. Okay. And let's see if that was enough. That might have been. Let's give it a shot. That felt a lot better. Yeah. Okay. And that's what it takes sometimes to properly align a bail. It can look like it did at first, where it just goes right together. But in actuality, sometimes it may not be properly aligned. Let me check, make sure we're fully tight. And we are. And make sure that we've got a fully operating bale, and we do. Okay. All right, that's got that done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the pinion gear. Some people will call this a worm gear because it looks similar to the worm gear in some baitcaster reels, but it's a spiral cut pinion gear. And we're gonna take this nut off, take this locking plate and the bearing off. Now this is a sealed bearing. Why does it have a sealed bearing? It has a sealed bearing because I put one on there. Okay, so what we're going to be planning to do is install this pinion gear into the body of the reel. And we're going to grease up the teeth. And we'll slide that in like that. There we go. Did I get that? Oh, a little bit old paint. Okay. Then we're going to slide the bearing on. Like so. And then it's going to go this bearing retainer. With that in, we can now install the bearing retainer and trip assembly. All right, now we've already oiled this bearing, but we're going to oil it again. And we'll spin it up a little bit. Okay. And at that point, we're ready to install the rotor. Let's set the rotor back in place and the rotor locking plate right here. Now you're going to look at that and think, okay, well, that's not going in far enough for me to install the nut. No, it's not. So you have to come down below it and push up on the pinion and then install the nut. Tighten down the nut, and let's see if we've got this right. If we do, it'll trip. There we go. There's the bail flip. There's the bail trip. Working as advertised. I'm going to add a drop of oil here. They always tell me that's not necessary, but I kind of like having it on there. Next thing we're going to do is flip this anti-reverse into override mode. We're going to oil the axle shaft. And then we're going to slide it in through the pinion from the front. There we go. And now we've got the main gear with its oscillation arm still attached. Now, if you wanted to take this off to clean it, you can. You can just take this nut off, or sorry, screw off. And when you take that screw off, there is a bushing under there that is kind of difficult to get back on. That's why I've left it off. And let me clean this up a little bit. And I've decided we're going to go ahead and take this off so you can see it. We've gone this far on everything else, we might as well take this apart so you can see it. Okay. Take the screw off. There's the arm. There's the bushing. And there's the gear. All right, that was kind of fun. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install this main gear. And when I go to put it in, we're going to grease it good. And we're going to put some grease along the anti-reverse in the back. And we'll put some oil on the crankshaft portion of it and slide this in. There, and it should rotate on in, go all the way down, and it did. Okay, I'm going to bring this now. I'm going to go ahead and put the handle on so that it will hold it in place so the gear doesn't keep popping out. Like that. Okay, here's the axle shaft in. I'm going to back this out a little bit now. Okay. And we're going to set this bushing up on the face right here. Then we're going to slide this axle shaft out a little bit and put this oscillation arm in place. And then we're going to add a little grease here and around on the oscillation arm. I'm going to use my ice pick to kind of center that hole for the screw. And then we'll see if we can't get that screw started in the hole, like so. And if you can get that thing to go in by hand, you can see it seems to be a lot easier if you can do that, because then you can kind of wiggle it when it gets a little tension on it. And we'll go ahead and snug it up. There we go. And now that's in there like it's supposed to be. We're going to bring it up. We're going to take the axle shaft and bring it up through and line it up with the hole in the crosswind arm, like that. And if we've got it aligned, the screw should go in like that. And that should allow us to screw the screw down, snug it up. And now, if everything is installed properly, it should be working cleanly with no binding. And we'll put a little more grease in here on the pinion just to keep everything well lubed. There we go. Okay. Now you can see how the oscillation works and how that makes that axle shaft go up and down, which in turn is going to make the spool move up and down. All right. Now, if you decide that you'd like a little more lubricant, you can always come back here and put some grease here on the axle shaft. And you can put some more grease in here, like so. And then, let's go ahead and engage the anti-reverse. And if you look down in there, very careful. Let's see if we can get, see it clicking down there? Now, if we move that eccentric the other way, there we go. Now, it can't do anything. And you have no anti-reverse. You're in override mode. Get that back. There we go. Okay, let's set that to the side. Well, let's go ahead and cover it up. And let's go ahead, put the cover on. All right, and that leaves us with one sub-assembly left, and that's going to be the spool. Let me clean up underneath it a little bit. Okay, be careful if you're cleaning this that you don't knock this spring off like I just did. And I'm going to see if I can get hold of the end of it and see if we can get it to hook back on. There we go. There we go. And it's got the spring back on in the right slot. And there was a fair amount of dirt under here. I've cleaned it out. And we're going to add a drop of oil here. Drop under it. And then we're going to oil the spring itself so that if water manages to intrude, it will not get corroded. All right, so now we get to this side, and we're going to assemble this. And it will start off with an HT100 washer, followed by a keyed washer. This is what they call a keyed washer, HT100. This would take the place of what's normally an eared washer. Then would be another HT100. Then would be the final keyed washer, and this one's got the dimples on it. And then goes the spring. Now, I'm looking at this guy, and I was wondering if it would turn okay, and I think it's going to be okay. But it's kind of rounded around on the edges, but I don't think that's going to affect anything. For the purpose of the video, I'm going to show you how to put this together, but I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be taking this back apart. I'm going to go ahead and order a new set of HT100s to go in this. Matter of fact, all these Penn 910s, or sorry, 710s Zs that I'm doing are all going to get brand new HT100 drag washers. I've decided they've got a lot of age on them, so it's time to move them on. All right, as far as how this turns. Okay, so let's see about getting this put in. Okay, I'll start off with the HT100 keyed washer, HT100, the hex or eared washer, HT100, dimpled washer. Now the dimples go up because they fit into the little dimples on the drag knob here. Okay, and then we're going to put in this retaining spring. Like so. Okay, and that's all done. We're going to set this back into place. Turn it around until everything drops in like that. And there is the Penn 710Z. Let's go ahead and oil the handle. Okay, we're going to loosen this up over here. And, ooh, it's kind of dirty in there. Okay, get the dirt and sand out of it, then you go ahead and give it a coat of oil, put a little bit on the threads back here. There we go. And now I'm going to wipe this down. And those HTs they're performing, they're doing their job, but I'm not planning to leave it that way. Okay, and there we go. Trip the bail trips back, and there we have another 710Z. Ready to go out the door. This one here I'm actually going to go ahead and move once it's going to sell, I believe. And let's see here. I see that this handle is bent slightly, and what it's causing the paint to get scratched right here. And what I need to do is take this off and straighten it, but I'm afraid that if I do, I might not get it to go back on straight. Let's try it though. Let's put it so you can see it, what's going on. And we'll turn this handle around. Okay, I've got this in the position where it's not hitting this way or this way. And I'm going to try to hold it in position while I loosen the screw. Now let's at least get it broke loose. Then we'll use this to put it in the middle. Then I'm going to back off the screw. I got to be very careful now. And then we'll lift this off. And see how it's slightly bent right there? I didn't notice that before. But we're going to put it over here and straighten it up. Okay, I believe that has it straight. Let's put the screw in and find out what happens. And we're going to use this cheater screwdriver for this since I don't want to put any tension on it. There we go. we go. I'll slide that off. Okay. And I'll have to touch that up. All right. So there you have the 710Z. That's two of them. We'll combine it all together into one video, and hopefully you'll get the best of the best. I'm still going to leave the mistakes I make in, and let's see what I can do. Hang on. I sprayed just a dab of that epoxy paint into a cap. And there you have it. Paintbrush goes in the trash. And there you have the Penn 910Z. This is the one I got from out of my dad's set. And this one I'm going to be keeping. Trying to decide if I'm going to use it on the boat. I was planning on using this newly purchased 4300 SSG that arrived today, but looking at it, I'm not sure it's big enough, folks. I don't know if it'll handle the redfish, so I've got a debate on that and make a determination if I'm going to use this one or if I'm going to turn around and resell it after servicing it and getting it on out of here. I just don't know if it's going to work for me, so it's have to wait and see. Anyway, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. Folks, if you're not hitting the like button, I'm not getting the algorithm telling people to come look for my reels. And I'll never get enough of a following to maintain. So please hit the like button if you like it. If you don't like it, don't hit the like button. Hit the dislike button and tell me what you didn't like about it. But for now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.